Hello people, welcome back to YouTube and more so my channel. Keeping it real and being not only true to yourself but true to others as well, and not just your significant others but everybody, e- everyone. And I think all the time you're keeping it real, you know, without exaggerations and without bigging things up, bigging how much money you've got, bigging how big of a house you've got, bigging things up. I think all the time you're doing that, then you will never ever find who you really are, because you're living in a world of pretense, because you're bigging yourself up all the time. My life is it's I keep my life real, you know. I keep everything about what I do real. You know, there is things that I don't particularly like, many things I do like, and if I've got anything to say, then I'll say it, you know, in a nice way, not in an argumentative way, of course not. But I think we've got to keep it real. There are too many people who make a pretense, or they live in a fantasy, or they try and make out they live in a fantasy world, or they want to live in a fantasy world. Like Walter Mitty. I remember watching that with Danny Kaye years ago with my father. But I think keeping it real and being true and honest is the way that you'll find peace of mind, especially finding peace of mind where you aren't bothered what people think of you, where you don't care if someone's got a bigger house than you, or if someone's got a bigger car, or they've got a higher salary than you, or they've got a bigger pension than you even. Does it matter? It might matter to other people when they're bragging about it, but to me, certainly not. So keeping it real and honest and being true to other people is very, very important indeed in having a more humble life. And I think that I'm very humble because it's just the way that I am. I think I've always been a humble type of a man. I've never had any pretense. I've never wanted more than what I could ever afford. And I thought that was mushrooms, but it's not. Well, it is, but it's not the right ones that you can eat, I don't think. So all the time you can keep it real to yourself, guys, you're going to find your own peace of mind and you're going to be happy. And like when I come here without a pension, how did I survive? You know, and some of the foreigners that I met here in the very beginning, they were saying, so how much is your pension? I said, I haven't got a pension. And they said, God almighty, how are you living then? How are you surviving? And I said, well, I'm doing a bit of teaching, you know. And at that time, I couldn't go back to Japan or South Korea because of the COVID-19, where I was working, teaching, when I left the UK, from teaching in the UK. And they said, oh my God, how are you surviving? How are you living? Oh, our pension is this. We get this amount, you know. And I thought, well, that's great. Lovely. You've earned it. And you are at the retirement age, so you are entitled to it. But, and then I was invited around a few of their houses, you know. And the big houses, some of them were big houses. Beautiful houses, I will say. They were beautiful houses. Beautiful. And kind of bragging about what they had and how much they'd spent and this and that and everything else. And I thought, well, you're not going to last 2 minutes. You're not going to last 2 minutes, because you're saying what you're spending, you're saying how much your pension is, and you're saying how much savings you have. And you're going to be doing that everywhere you go. And there could be the wrong person that could be listening to that. And what could happen? Anything. So I think even if you have got lots of money, regardless if you're in your own country or not, or whether you're here, you should keep, I mean, that's private, you know, keep that to yourself. You know, No one needs to know how much money that people have. And I think that to be not exaggerating, but to be, I think, bragging about your capabilities and what you have, it's not such a good thing because you're not being humble. And I'm not saying that everybody should be humble, because everyone is themselves, horses for courses, as I say. But I think being humble is, for me, it brings me to contentment, because I'm not wishing for that. I'm not wishing for copious amounts of money. I'm not thinking, oh, if only I had this, if only I had that, if only I waited, to leave the UK until I got my pension. It's got dark, hasn't it? Very dark. It's going to rain. Pensions is, yes, we've worked for that. We've paid into the funds. We've paid our national insurance stamps, so we are entitled to it. Some countries have a good pension. I think Switzerland has a really good pension, I think. The UK, no, it's crap. So I think, for me, doing what I do, I'm probably just as well off as what I would be if I was doing nothing and relying on a pension from the UK. I'm probably just the same. And I like to do what I'm doing because it keeps my brain active as well. God, it's got dark. How am I going to make it home before the rain starts? And if I waited for a pension, I'd have had to stay in the UK for another, because when I left, I was 50. So I would have had to stay in the UK for another 17 years. So I'd have been missing 17 years of being here when the time comes. And I wouldn't have had my little boy. And I wouldn't have, met my wonderful wife. And I wouldn't have been a permanent resident here, because I'd have still been stuck in the UK. And would I be healthy then? I don't know. We don't know. We don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. We simply don't know that. I don't know if I'll even make it back home. I'm saying, we never know. So, we've just got to be humble, guys. My house is a humble house. It's big enough for us. And when some Filipinos, our neighbours, come round sometimes for a couple of drinks, or we do a little bite to eat, they say, oh, you've got a big house. I say, no, it's not big really. But then in relation to theirs, I suppose it is. But it's not a big house really, guys. It's just a small little humble house for me, my wife and my son. And it's all theirs. It belongs to my wife and my son. And quite right too. Quite right too. I'm pleased. At least I've done something good in my life. At least I've left them something. And a lot of people think, well, what's the point in buying a house here with your wife when you can never have it? Well, so what? So what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Again, we're being materialistic. I don't care. If my wife said to me tomorrow, get out, I'd have to go, no choice. And I would go. I would go gracefully. I'd take my bin liner of clothes. No, really. But I would, I wouldn't stay where I wasn't welcome. But I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know. We never know the future. But no, I don't think. We have a good, strong relationship, good marriage, good family, good loving family. And not just my wife, but my wife's family is also very good. I'm quite lucky with that, guys. Quite lucky that my family's wife is very good. They don't want things from us. And they just nice. They are very humble people. I think the Filipinos are very humble people in general. They don't brag about, or the ones I've met don't brag about having this or brag about having that, or how big their motorcycle is, if it's a 50cc or a 125cc. They don't brag about it. Of course they're happy when they buy something new, because it's not often they do. So of course they're going to show it off, But certainly humble people. I've got to take these coconuts from these trees, guys, because there's a couple there what's going to fall off. So maybe tomorrow I'll take some of them off because it's a bit dangerous. So yeah, finding your own happiness, you've got to find it yourself, because your idea of happiness and my idea of happiness could be two totally different books, two totally different things. But mine is just been, I think, just having a simplicity in my, just having a a simple life, just being very simplistic. Because simplicity breeds success, believe it or not. And my ambition has gone a long time ago. My ambition for work, my ambition for this, for that, buying a house in England, which I did, having a nice car, which I did, that's gone. Where did it get me, really? Yeah, I was happy for a while, but I'm still not financially better off now than I was then, because I got divorced and my ex-wife had it. Because that's just how it goes. Life is how it goes, guys. Life is what happens, what happens. But it's what you do in between that matters, and making the fondest memories that you can. Because sometimes, one day, if you don't get Alzheimer's, but one day, these memories are going to be the only thing that you've got left. It's going to be the only thing that you've got, these memories that you are making right now. And I don't know about you guys, but I have little nostalgic moments, and I could be walking, I could be doing anything, playing with my son or anything, even fishing, and something nice will come into my mind and it will make me smile. I think having good memories, even if you've got half a dozen of them, it's better than having regrets, right? It's better than having regrets, because regrets is a negative thing, and we'll always be thinking, what if? Oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Regrets is a terrible thing. Making fond memories is a brilliant thing. Even the smallest of things. Like, I remember, my little boy, when he was around about 9 months old, and he started to get up, and he took his first steps when he was 11 months old. And I will never forget that. Just that simple thing of him taking his first steps and falling over. And him looking up at me and smiling. Because he fell over, didn't hurt himself because it was on the grass. But he looked at me and smiled. And I will never forget that, hopefully, unless I get those horrible forget diseases. I'm not going to mention the names no more. I don't want to tempt fate. But yeah, those little simple memories, much better than having any regrets, guys. It really is. So try and be humble. Try and don't try and just think of yourself all the time. Get rid of that selfish ways if you have it. Think of other people. An act of kindness, a simple smile, walking down the street to someone could make all the difference to that person's day. A simple smile. And what's a smile? Costs nothing. And when these people come up, like the badjow, there's a lot of badjow at the moment because of the Christmas times. I always give them something. People say, I don't, because you give them one, you give them all. Well, I don't give them all, because where I go, there's only one or two. So it's the same ones every time. But I give them something, and they all smile. Maybe they've got more money than me, but at least in my mind, I've done an act of kindness that makes me feel good. And I think that makes my wife happy as well, because I've never been greedy, guys, ever. I'm not a greedy man. Whatever I have, I would give half of it away. If someone didn't have anything, if I had £10 or $10 or 1,000 pesos and someone was in trouble, I'd give them half of that and I would have half myself. It's just the kind of guy I am. That's why I'll never be rich, because I've always given things away all my life, too easily and too readily. But that's life, isn't it? That's life. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you for the subscriptions, old and new followers. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes as well. Thank you, guys, and come back again for the next video when I make one. Take good care always. God bless.